Hey, what's going on, everybody? From Who Got Next, I'm Andrew James. It's the show that deep dives with tomorrow's talent today. Joining me this week is a connoisseur of culture, a prominent musician. Not only is he a podcaster and a Twitch streamer, from performing in orchestras to China and Japan to hosting Voidwalker, a podcast surrounding the successful AAA title Apex Legends, it's JulesTheHuman. Welcome to the show.
Oh man, thanks for having me, Andrew. Jesus, man, I think you've got it. I think that was the best intro I've ever gotten. So thank you. It's already going well.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate that as well. So yeah, we want to go into a lot of different things on this show, and I want to go into history. You know, you as a person, you're really interesting to me. You know, you have very
Thanks.
many different backgrounds in what you've done and what you've accomplished already. So starting with gaming, and now looking at your stream, you've played a lot of single player games. Now, in all of the single player games that you have played, what would you say has been the best or most memorable game that you have played?
Oh man, so I started about a year and a half ago streaming, right? And the first game that I really played was BioShock. So
Okay.
I do actually have a BioShock tattoo because it did mean a lot to me when I played it, the franchise a long time ago when I was high school. And I knew when I started streaming, I wanted to start with BioShock. So I was like, BioShock, that's going to be the one. The franchise is a fantastic franchise. The games are so much fun. And that one really holds a lot for me personally, just because of the messages and stuff. It's really cool. But another one that surprised me was the Life is Strange series.
Okay.
Life is Strange is really interesting. It's like a story you can choose. There's a bunch of different directions that the story can go depending on your choices. It's chapter based, and there's Life is Strange, Life is Strange 2, Life is Strange Before the Storm. But when we were playing the very first Life is Strange, 5 chapters through, man, it was really interesting because maybe 5 or 6 months into Twitch streaming, and I was starting to get a community going, but this game just like unlocked a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
And still, I think those were my like longest streams because I did 2 chapters in a day, and I did 8 hours of a story game alone in my room. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and I cried a bunch like during the game, like together on
Hmm.
stream. Like that was just an emotional experience for me and the people that got to watch me. I mean, I had people that were like, "Yo, I'm here with my wife," or this game, the Life is Strange series holds a lot of in high regard for a lot of people because it is a fantastic game.
Hmm.
But the experience of me going through it for the first time and them experiencing it again through me, and a lot of people were just like, "Yo, I'm here with." This is my second time watch. This is my 20th time watching whatever, and it's so cool to see you going through your emotions. That's how I felt, and it was just a magical experience, really. So Life is Strange, I'd say by far was the best experience playing a single player game on stream.
Yeah. It's really interesting because obviously listing all the games on your Twitch channel, Bioshock and Life is Strange were the two titles that I almost wrote down in my notes of asking
Mm-hmm.
questions about. The Life of Strange series, it's such a good series. But talking about another good series that you're really familiar with, across the entire saga, what is your favorite Guitar Hero game?
Oh man, I'd probably say there was one that didn't catch on that I played on PlayStation 2. It was like Guitar Hero 80s, and it had
Okay.
like a lot of or it was like Aerosmith or something like
Yeah,
that.
it
No,
was
the
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith was another one, but I don't know if they had the 80s one, but then their Aerosmith expansion pack or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Something about the 80s music because it is so easy to just go along and play the song. It's super chill. There's just regular chords, there's just, really cool vocal lines, cool drum beats, whatever. But then once you get to the solo
Yeah.
of an 80s song, everything goes out the window. Anything can happen, and it's just insane to play. Like you're just going chugging along, and everything's super easy, and it's just like whatever. Okay, I'm just chilling. I'm barely paying attention. But then once those solo parts hit, it's just next level.
Mm-hmm.
So the 80s, I played quite a bit just because the solos were super fun. Those were all super fun.
Yeah. So now, did you play on expert, right?
Yeah, I played on expert since I got it. I played guitar on expert back Guitar Hero 1 all the way until I switched over to Rock Band, and the I played all the Guitar Heroes. I mean, I played with my brother. When me and my brother would play, I just switched to drums. I was like, okay, I'm done with guitar. I mean, me and my brother would play Dragon Force like for fun
Yeah.
on expert, both of us, and it's just like, okay, I'm cool. And I was like, I want to actually learn how to play this like huge drum set. I bought the peripherals for, what I guess Guitar Hero or Rock Band. Which one came out first? I think it was Rock Band.
Yeah.
Came out with the drum set first with the 4 pads,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like the kick, and I was like, okay, cool. Something something a little different. And then I was playing expert on that, but that was a lot more work than
Yeah.
just moving your hands. I'm like, fuck, I'm sweating. I'm there, like my brother's just chilling on guitar, and I'm just sweating there with the drum set. I'm like, okay, we gotta take 5. I'm like, oh my god, this is a lot, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. So now this is a question that I had that I thought was interesting. So besides your Umbreon Thomas, what is your favorite Eeveelution?
Um, there's a lot. I think we named them on stream a couple times, or a couple days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I don't even know how many they're at. But Glaceon's cool just because it looks cool. I mean, I know Thomas. I know, I know Umbreon is a useless Pokemon, right? I know it's not the greatest. I know it's bad. I played Pokemon, and Umbreon was my number one, but it's just cool. Kind of like Ash has Pikachu.
Mm-hmm.
Like we know Pikachu ain't all that, but like the connection, and he just seems pretty dope.
Yeah.
I know with this dark Pokemon, he doesn't have like the best stuff, but it's just a cool character that I like. He's just super cool. But Glaceon, probably like Flareon or Jolteon. I think those are my
Yeah.
favorite, my next favorite.
Yeah, I would go with Jolteon for sure. That was mine. Besides Umbreon as well, I like
Yeah.
the dark aspect always kind of drew me to characters and so on. So
Yeah.
now looking at gaming a little bit more recently, the Among Us rave, right? Everybody's playing Among Us. It's a 2-year-old game, and out of nowhere, it's caught like wildfire. I know you play it on stream. You have Tin Mans that play it every single week. What has been kind of your most fun parts about Among Us? Like, what do you enjoy the most about it?
I like lying. No, I mean, it's just really interesting. I mean, you get to flex that part of your personality, I guess. Not all the time is it allowed to lie
Yeah.
and not have any like real consequences to it. But really, it's a mental exercise, I think, and a way to, challenge yourself. I mean, at least for me, like whenever we play, whether I'm an imposter or whatever, it's just really interesting to see how I can get out of things, how I can like pretend in a way and say, this is what's happening, or to deduce, like I think we're all in our own way, Sherlock Holmes or something, and we're just trying to figure out this mystery that's happening at the core of the map or the ship with all these 10 people, and it's just like, who, or it's like Clue. I love those
Yeah.
mystery sort of things. It's like, who did this here? And it's really just using all of your brain, because you try and keep track of everybody, see where everybody's going. You have to do your tasks, and you're like, well, you don't trust anybody, and it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I'm playing it tomorrow with my community, and it's just really cool that everybody can play it.
Yeah.
It's on PC, it's on mobile, and the aspect of you can jump into a game with people that you don't really know, and you can kind of just go with it and you can have fun. Not a lot of games have that ability. I mean, we saw Fall Guys as well. The Fall Guys, I'm pretty sure you can jump into a group of 4 and then just like play and know what's going on. But like
Yeah.
with a game like Apex or Fortnite, Apex more, but you kind of have to have like chemistry and stuff. With Among Us, you don't really need that. You can just jump into random groups and have people. So it's been really interesting to see the kind of people and see the different sides of people as well while you play Among Us.
Oh, for sure. You know how many friendships I feel have been betrayed while playing Among Us?
I
I'm
yeah,
looking at people like wow, I didn't realize you were so good at being dishonest to me. I
and
thought you were my friend.
it's hard to take yourself out of that, right? Like
Mhm.
like okay, in the confines of this hour of us playing Among Us, everything goes. Anything can happen. I'm going to lie to you, whatever.
Yeah.
But then after that hour, it's hard to let it go cuz like I still feel like animosity towards somebody, to one of my mods that lied to me, and I'm like, I know it wasn't real, but like
You're hurt,
kind of
right?
was. Yeah, I'm like, maybe. So yeah, it is very difficult to just keep it within the standards of Among Us, and it does put some friendships on edge for sure.
Yeah. So now kind of looking at your podcasting career, right? You've done many different podcasts. And one thing that I kind of found interesting was between your previous podcasts of, the, Nerdy Things podcast, Everything is Fine and A Good Place, kind of these podcasts that are centered around gaming and pop culture around gaming. What have you pointed as being kind of like the highlights of all of those different series?
Um, well, with Everything is Fine, Good Place podcast, talking about the hit NBC TV show, The
Mm-hmm.
Good Place. We went through episode by episode and we talked about that show until it finished. But I hadn't watched the show before, so
Oh.
watching the other two co-hosts that I had, they've watched the first season already, and then season 2 was coming out and all that stuff. So we started a podcast and we just want to do episode by episode, and I was the only one that didn't know what was going to happen. And there's like a big twist. There's like a bunch of twists and a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
things that change, whatever, going into the show. But I watched it episode by episode every week. So I watched one episode. We did a podcast at the end of the week. They rewatched it. I watched it for the first time, and going on that journey and having the listeners, because we had a Facebook group for that.
Mm-hmm.
Having the listeners follow along with me, and then finally when something happened, and I was like, "Oh my God, why didn't y'all y'all were holding this back the whole time? Like you were, you had this big secret that you were keeping from me. What?" But
Yeah.
that was really fun to do that. We've interviewed some really cool people on Nerdy Things podcast. I mean, are you talking just like just the pop culture ones? I mean, I did some music ones too, like with my dad. That's how I started.
Yeah. So that
So
was actually going to be a follow-up question
sure.
of terms of pop culture versus doing the Texas Music Spotlight. Did you, obviously with your, immense background in music and that being a huge passion of yours, and, obviously both podcasts in their own right are, fusing together two worlds that you are super passionate about. Now, did you enjoy? I mean, I guess you can't really say did you enjoy which one better because you enjoyed them both, right? So, kind of, what would you say was one of the standouts from both of them?
So yeah, with the Texas Music Spotlight, I started that with my dad because he's a musician as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's Grammy Award-winning bass player with Emilio Navaida, and he knows this sort of older group of musicians. And with the Texas Music Spotlight, which eventually turned into SA Sounds, we just changed the name. They were interviews uh, by him of the musicians that he knew, the musicians that were his friends, his colleagues and stuff. And then it evolved into as well interviews from musicians that I know. So it was both of us kind of doing the same thing. We did it on Facebook Live sometimes. It evolved many different times. So that was just like a pure like interview podcast where I
Mm-hmm.
got to ask the questions and figure out how they got into the music stuff and all that. And we've interviewed like tons of amazing musicians and stuff. And then with the other ones, they were different. Nerdy Things Podcast and Everything Is Fine, a Good Place podcast. Like I said, those were with the same co-hosts. So it was us three, and we did those two podcasts, and it was just talking about movies, video games, whatever it was. And that was just, something that I can chill and talk about.
Yeah.
With the like Texas Music Spotlight, I had to like, what you're doing. Like I had to get info about them and make educated questions and figure out, what's going on in their life, how to ask this differently than the last podcast, the last interview. So, getting to meet all these different people for those interview shows was a lot of fun, was really cool. I definitely learned a lot about music by hearing all these different stories. Like we did that podcast for 2 or 3 years. I mean, we got featured in like Texas Monthly and stuff for that podcast that we grew out of nothing. And that was just like really informational, but like it's just fun to talk about, the latest Marvel movie,
Yeah.
or something like that. Like it, for the Nerdy Things podcast, literally the topic would be like, okay, we got some news, but we're talking about Spider-Man. Okay, cool. Like I don't got to prepare for that. Like I know Spider-Man, I know all this stuff. So it was super rewarding and fulfilling in different ways. And just, yeah, like you said, like the two different parts of me, I guess.
Yeah. So now, if you were to do more interview styled work, or, more of the hosting and you're asking the questions type of podcast, right? Who would be your dream podcast guest?
Dream podcast guest, like out of anybody?
Anybody.
Or like, I mean,
Anybody that is alive.
Sure. Okay. Dream podcast guest. I was gonna keep it like to like, I guess, gaming. Like I would love to interview Dr. Lupo or talk to Dr. Lupo,
Okay.
who's a pretty big streamer on Twitch, and he does like a lot of charity stuff. But I just think he's really interesting. Like he's one of the ones that I kind of look up to with his content, because he's a little bit older. Like they call him like the old guy on Twitch, even though he's like late 30s, not even late 30s. But he just seems interesting, and I really enjoy his content. Or even like Courage JD, who is also a streamer. But
yeah,
they're really interesting. They're people that I look up to with their content, because they do keep it interesting and fresh, and they do have fun with it. So it's really cool. I don't know who else I would like to interview. You know what's one thing that I haven't done? I haven't interviewed my dad.
Oh.
And that would be interesting. And we always talked about doing that. We would co-interview somebody, but we've never interviewed each other. And I know we kept putting it off, and we never got around to it. But I think it would be interesting to hear his stories, because he like traveled the world and all that stuff. But yeah, that's one person like I would like to get more into his head. I think that would be really interesting, because I can say things that nobody else can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can just like, oh, tell me straight. Like, what are you talking about? So that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think I would choose that.
Man, I love that answer. I really love that answer. So, kind of looking more at, obviously, your history. You've done YouTube, you've done a bunch of different things. And this is something that's more of like a guilty pleasure question for me, because I've always had the interest of doing it. What was it like making tamales for the first time?
They were delicious, to be honest. And my family makes them every year. And I had never like been in the same room or the same house as them making tamales, and they were made by my great grandma. And this was like the first year that she had like passed away. Or was it the second year? That was like, well, the video you're referring to on YouTube, it was made like 2 years ago or whatever, and that was like the first year that she wasn't there. So the family was making them for the first time without her. So it was like really special and really interesting how we're going to, go on and keep the tradition alive. But it was really interesting. It was really hot in the room.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of bodies. My whole family just kind of just was in the kitchen, the dining area. And I remember I was like, oh my God, like I'm just sitting here. I'm sweating. Like what I want to eat the food, but like I got to wait and I'm just hot. And when's the first batch going to be here? But it was really interesting. It was really fun to see. I didn't do anything. I filmed it all. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't do anything. I just watched and got to eat them. So, but it looked pretty cool.
That sounds like the perfect job in all of the tamale making. That's my favorite part.
I got the camera. I was like, here, I got the camera. I mean, I'm making a vlog, and they're like, do you want to help? I was like, I got the camera. I can't. My hands,
Yeah.
I gotta be here. So
okay. So this is something, because I'm also someone that's very interested in this as well, and it's an old medium. Very few people collect it now. But what drives your affinity for vinyl records?
So I didn't get into vinyl records until a couple of years ago, and I got an Audio-Technica record player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. They just look pretty. Like, I have a huge collection. Well, not huge. I have a fairly big, I would say 50 records, but they're all like something different about them. Most of them are like colored vinyl, a special edition or something like that. But I just love the way that they look, and I think that's like an art. And I really like that every one is unique. Like there's like you get a special edition. There's only 500 of these, but all of them are a little different. You can't get two that are like the exact same.
Yeah.
And I think that all these music snobs are like, vinyl was the peak of audio and it sounds the best. And I'm like, I don't know if it sounds the best. It sounds cool.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say, I still listen to Spotify. It's not like I'm only listening to vinyl records. It's like I'm not pretentious like that. But I do like the specialty art on them, and they do sound cool. And I kind of just like the idea that I can go because I'm a musician and I liked classical music. I really enjoy classical music. I know like enough about classical music, but I like going to a thrift shop and getting 30 of them for like $30. I can get this one and I'm like, oh my God, this is like this orchestra playing this piece. And because nobody really cares about classical music or whatever, I'm like, this is the thing. Like nobody for $1, okay, 45 cents. What? I'll take 3.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that I can just like go and buy a bunch and it looks cool, and a lot of them are messed up, and that's cool that some of them have scratches and things like that, but it adds like texture to the song. I don't know.
It adds to that, the concept and kind of the originality of the record, right?
Yeah.
Because it gives it that personality, right? If something was to unfortunately happen and say, yo, you got a scratch on your record here, now it's just like, oh, well, this is just my record now. Like, this is how my song plays.
I feel kind of bad for treating them the way that I do, but I kind of want something wrong to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just stack them and I'm just like, okay, this one's out of the thing. None of my specialty ones I treat shitty, but like a lot of the older ones I'm just like, whatever. And then I'm hoping that something happens and I listen to it and I'm like, oh, I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
So it's somebody asked me about hobbies yesterday, actually, on stream, and I never thought about that. I guess I collect records. Interesting. Somebody was like, on my stream, like I was telling them, like I do all the things. Like I'm podcasting, a YouTube. I'm a musician, and then they're like, "What are you? Do you have a hobby?" And I'm like, I do all these things. I don't know. Like I guess are these things hobbies? But I guess I can like say I collect records. I never thought about that.
There you go.
Yeah.
So now
Thanks.
this is another kind of pop culture question, and I know this one's gonna pull you in two very, very different directions. Would you
Oof.
rather be a sworn Death Eater or possess one of the Deathly Hollows? And you can choose anyone that you wanted.
Um, I think it's just fun to be a Death Eater. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know. I just something is really uh, interesting about them. Like all these characters that have this secrecy about them that in a magical world it's almost impossible to keep secrets, but they kept secrets, they kept their identity and stuff, and that would be really cool. I don't know. I think I would more than more than me wanting to be a Death Eater, I don't think I could be trusted with any of the Deathly Hollows. I think I would do something stupid, and that's why mainly it's like I have all this power. Like what? No, don't something with the invisibility cloak or something. Just I would fuck with people quite a bit. Just like
Yeah.
I don't know, just sticking my leg out and tripping people or something. So I would do something silly like that. So I'd rather be a Death Eater for sure.
Okay, cool, cool. So now this is another one. Adventure Time or Rick and Morty?
I Well, for one, Adventure Time is where I got my name from. Jules the Human. I made like a thing. I don't know. It was in college, and I was like, I need a brand name, I guess. And I really liked Adventure Time in college, so I was like, let's just do that. Jules the Human. That works from the intro song of
Mm-hmm.
Adventure Time. I like Rick and Morty, and I really enjoyed it, but the intense fandom really turned me off
Okay.
of and I know that sounds weird, but like seeing people get so intense about something, it just like puts me off. Like
Yeah.
everybody's like, I need to go to McDonald's to get the Szechuan sauce, and I'm like, bro, chill. Like
It ain't that
you get it
serious.
or you won't. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it ain't that serious, man. Like, just a sauce, dude. Like, you could probably make that at home,
You
like
can.
whatever. But the fandom really turned me off of Rick and Morty. So much so that I haven't even seen the latest season. I was like, okay, I really don't want to. I don't know why. It was just like, y'all, y'all just hyped it up way too much, and now I just don't care. And
Yeah.
that happened to me with something else. I forgot what it was, where the fandom just got too much, and I was like, eh. And just Adventure Time is just super wholesome and super
Yeah.
cool, and have some really cool music. For some reason, the music's really interesting.
Yeah.
They have a really really cool tunes. So
I don't know if you know this, but Justin Roiland, obviously the creator and voice of Rick and Morty, voiced
hmm
Lemonhead on Adventure Time. Did you know that?
no, I didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was. It was in one of his Vanity Fair videos where he
Uh,
did going over his iconic characters, and it was obviously the lemon who screams crazy loud,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now when you go back and listen to that, you'll hear like hints of Morty inside of that
Yeah.
voice.
Huh.
Yeah, I always found that was super interesting. They talked about it because in that series, he had to take like weeks off of his voice. Like he couldn't talk or anything because of just the
yeah.
intense screaming and
Yeah.
all the different takes. Um,
Wow.
yeah, fun
That's
fact.
wild. Yeah, and it's
So,
really cool with like voice acting,
mhm,
where if you know the voice actor, you could follow them,
yeah,
and you hear like little hints of another character. I mean, that happened with Apex Legends, where the most recent legend to come into Apex Legends was Rampart, and she's a voice actress, and she voiced a character in Overwatch. And as
okay,
soon as somebody heard Rampart speak, they're like, "Oh, Sinestra from Overwatch or something," and it's like, "Oh yeah, that's the same voice actress." Even though like they're different voices, you can very much tell if it's in a similar medium that they're voiced by the same person, and you can like follow their career and stuff, which is pretty cool.
yeah, for sure. I see that a lot. Oh man, what is it? It's in Valorant.
hmm
Brimstone's voice is super prominent. I think
hmm
it's like I want to say it's like Steve Blum. I'm not entirely sure, but I know
Sure.
he's voiced a ton of different things, and you see that too in anime as well.
Hmm.
You'll see a lot of like male anime voice actors will do shows like in the show Hakyo, it's the volleyball anime. The
I've been meaning to watch that.
dude, it
That's on
is
my watch
it's
list, my
such
Crunchyroll.
a good anime.
Yeah.
It was my first sports anime. I'm gonna be straight
Uh-huh.
up. I wasn't sure if I was going to really enjoy it, right? Because obviously I've watched, Tokyo Ghoul, My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, all these like kind of gory, fighting
Yeah.
style animes, and then going in and be like, can a volleyball anime really
Sure.
be like the hype and like what you want out
Yeah.
of an anime? And let me tell you right now, it does. It lives up so much to that anime, like the standards of anime for
Okay.
me. Because I'm also like, for me in anime, I'm a very big fan of like Shonen Jump animes. So it's
Hmm.
like the one prominent character trying to, you see that in Hunter x Hunter as well, where these series of, facing common problems and so on. Definitely recommend watching that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like those, those big fighting. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know if I get bored.
Hmm.
I don't want to say bored. It's just disinterest, where like I need to have like this next level action. Like my favorite is Kill la Kill. Like that just boom.
Okay.
I was like, oh my god, like this is just action rolling through, and it's a pretty cool story. But if something um, just doesn't hit, like I just like that action and fighting and stuff, so that's pretty cool. I definitely will check that out then, because yeah, I'm coming from that side of the
Yeah.
spectrum too. I think, what's the other one? I think, what is it, Angel Beats? I guess you can. That's not even a sports anime. They did a sport, but
Hmm.
it wasn't even a sport anime. But I haven't seen any sports anime, so I'm definitely interested. I put it on my list,
Yeah,
so I guess I'll check
I
that out.
was skeptical at first, but I'm gonna
Mhm.
say I'm almost more leaning in towards those being more interesting to me, especially if it's a sport that I can kind of relate to. I don't find very many sports like exciting or interesting.
Mhm.
So, having an anime sport, like something that I'm really into, and then kind of like letting you get into a sport you never thought you'd be interested into,
Sure.
It's kind of like that same concept of the podcast, right? Like fusing together two worlds that you don't really think would normally go together.
Yeah.
But so transitioning away from anime and pop culture
Sure.
talk and getting a little bit more into you as a creator and kind of your journey, where you want to go, and so forth. And I see this narrative that you are kind of putting across your brand of being a storyteller. And this is something that I find super interesting, and kind of with this storytelling narrative that you're pushing, what would you say you want to be your main storyline of all of your content? Like if you had to choose a, you know, 7 season arc of what your content is and what it provides, what would you describe that as?
Well, first of all, I don't see myself as the hero. If we're gonna make like an anime or something out of it, I don't know what it is. It would probably just be like a slice of life, because it's uh, I brand myself as a storyteller on the internet, because mainly when I started Twitch streaming, like I said, I started off with BioShock, and we've done like some of the Resident Evil games, and we've done like a lot of single player story based games,
Yeah.
which was my focus. And now that I have like a little bit better of a PC, I can play Apex Legends and all that. But it started off as me playing these solo games and people experiencing that with me. So one part of it is I'm telling the story of the video game, the world, and we're going on this journey together. And that's kind of what it is for Twitch streaming. We're going on this journey with whatever story they're trying to tell. We're on it together. I'm playing it, but you're there, and you're just as important uh, as me actually doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But another aspect of that is that I'm telling my own story as we play. Like, if I have a bad day or something, I'll talk about it. I'm not, I'm very candid. I'm not holding anything back. I mean, I do play it up a little bit, like even in my YouTube videos, like I'm Jules the Human. Like that's different that's a different person I see
Yeah.
than just Julian, because I'm a big introvert. You wouldn't notice if you looked me up, but I'm a big introvert, and I play this role, Jules the Human. But if something goes on in my life, I tell everybody, and I got to talk about it, and I go through that. So I'm not only telling the story of the video game, I'm telling my own story day to day and what's going on. And hopefully at the end, people that have been there for a long time, they know what I've been going through, what every aspect of me. But, I also want to tell other people's stories as well, because like the people that come into the stream and the community that I've grown for a year and a half, it's mind-boggling how close I've gotten to these people. I never thought that would happen, and I never thought that would happen this quickly.
Yeah.
Because it was totally different. I came from YouTube. It was just me here, put it up, and then somebody sees it. I don't know. These are just numbers. I get 100 views. I don't know who you are. You can say, you can comment, whatever. Yeah, I can't even see who liked it. You can't see who likes your YouTube videos. But with Twitch, it was completely different. And now I see these people every day, 4 times, spending their hours with me. And we create a bond, and they're telling their story through Twitch chat. If something good happens, we've created this really good environment where people want to share. Like somebody comes in and they're like, I have a 4.0 GPA now, like I've done really well in college, like holy cow, like we're all excited for them, or it's my birthday or something.
Yeah.
So we've created this really interesting environment where we invite positivity, and we invite everybody, so that people are able to share their own stories through that. And if I was looking at a story arc, I just want to make people smile. That's about it, because content creators make me smile. Before I started all this, I was pretty depressed in college, and I turned to content creators, and they made my day better. So if I can do that, that's all I want.
Man, that's the second answer that has really impressed me. Like, just the hearing that,
Thanks.
it's so refreshing to hear, because I interview people, or I talk to people, and I see other people do interviews and all of this stuff, and it really seems to me that with this kind of market that has been created, of you can make streaming a multi-million dollar career now if you are blessed and lucky enough to have that
Mm-hmm.
happen to you, right? And a lot of people, at least in my perspective, have kind of got into streaming for the ability to make money and to not do anything other than that, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Sure.
That is a completely viable way, but I do see that aspect of community and friendship and really growing a bond of what you're trying to achieve does get lost, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if you're in a chat with thousands and thousands of other people, what kind of quality are you actually having in terms of a conversation or connection with the streamer?
Mm-hmm.
So on, dude, that is really cool to hear. Like, I
Thanks,
don't know,
man.
like,
No, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, people have come in recently into streams, and they're like, I like how you talk to everybody. I like the way that you respond so quickly to chat. And I'm like, isn't that the point? Like, I'm not competitive at all. And if you come into my streams, I fucking suck at video games. But the video game is almost the background. The video game is almost the tool to get to the connection. Like, I
wow.
have a rule where I don't play with people in voice chat. I mean, a lot of people want to play with me, and I had a lot of people like, "Hey, can I play Warzone with you?" And I'm like, "I'll play with you off stream, but right now is me in chat for we do this." And they always go first. For me, it's always about entertaining them. It's all about catering to them, and not a lot of people do that. And
Yeah.
not a lot of people are into that. Like, I don't care if I lose. Like, I don't care. Like, there's another game. I could just start it over. But I'm just always, okay, this is the background, but really you need your eyes to watch the video game, but I'm trying to connect with you with my voice or whatever, or me being dumb or silly, playing really bad. But I put that first for sure, and I enjoy that. And I
Yeah.
don't need like, okay, I don't know. I hate talking about myself. It's really, I haven't talked about myself in a while, but like, I don't need the money. I don't care. Like when we were playing Among Us last week, last Saturday, my we had a group and it's all my community. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, that's the one time that I play with the community, and that's my focus with the 10 people that I'm playing with. And I was like, everybody get out of my chat. I don't want to see you here. And they're like, but you're going to lose viewers. And I'm like, why? I don't care. I don't care about losing the number. I'm making an experience with you right now. And people are going to watch or people are not going to watch. But I know I'm going to get closer to the 10 people here and we're going to have a good time. So like all that's by the wayside. I've already succeeded more than I ever expected by getting, like, my mods always make fun of me because they're like, oh, is he doing the thing again? Because I'm like, I never thought I would get 5 subs. I never thought I would get one. Like,
Yeah.
I never thought somebody would spend money on me because YouTube was totally different. Podcasting, like, unless I was hired by a company, all of that was like personal podcast stuff. So I wasn't getting paid for that. And now, like right now in September, we're over 100. Like I've already, I'm already six. I don't care. Like I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like I want to, yeah. That's it.
Dude.
I just got off a stream. That's why like I'm like super about it right now because I just finished my morning stream today. So I'm like, damn, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, playing Warzone for the first time in a long time. It was so crazy. Like, that's one of the things that really draws me as a consumer of content to a stream, right? A lot of the Twitch channels that I hang out in or I'm a part of is almost a word for word what you said of, yeah, I'm there because they're playing a game I have interest in. But I'm there because I'm there talking to my friends that I have made through chat or through this connection that I have with the streamer, right? And it comes down to this kind of thing of, okay, you're on the internet. What kind of relationship can you really be forming, right? And that's kind of like the taboo, normie view of Twitch and gaming. And for me, like the reply to that is always, well, have you met my three best friends who live in New Orleans, Texas, and,
Yeah.
across the world?
Yeah,
And
for
it's
sure.
like, some of my best friends I met on Xbox Live, and we then went to gaming events around the world. And the first time I was meeting them was when they were getting off their plane at the airport. And when we got off of that, plane ride, and we're sitting there and we're meeting for the first time, like, hey, is this you? Like, literally, oh, hey, Austin, is this you? And like, oh, hey, what's up, Andrew? So now, like, we're confirming, like, hey, this is the person I'm supposed to be meeting right there in person
So
for the first
wild.
time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what's so crazy to me is that it was like picking up, like, you came home. It was like coming home to your
Yeah.
childhood friend. Like, you were there and you were just with your friends, and it was like nothing changed. And honestly, for me, how I look at gaming and being somebody that was always kind of not really the center of attention, but also not, the complete out, cast of the group. So I was kind of always more on the borderlines, having this area of gaming where people are judging my character based on what I'm saying or like my personality. They're not judging me based on my physical appearance or anything like that. And I think
Yeah.
that is really the beauty of Twitch and of online interaction in general. But dude, I'm really 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 impressed. Like, I'm not even going to lie. I stream on the side as a passion,
Sure.
and the things that you have said have, while I'm listening to them, have made me reflect on things that I do in my own stream. Like, that's actually a really good approach and like concept towards streaming, right? Of
Yeah.
when you're playing with people or when you're not playing with people, right? Because I always run into that thing of like, okay, should I be playing with somebody? Is that more entertaining? Or, all of those different questions, right?
Yeah.
It's
And a
so
lot of people
interesting.
do start off with playing with their friends
Mm-hmm.
because it is difficult to be alone.
Yeah.
Um, and I always tell people like, they're like, "Oh, you've only been streaming for a year and a half? Like, oh my God, how are you this good at just talking to yourself? Or how are you this good already at like carrying a conversation?" And I'm like, I've only been streaming for a year and a half, but I've been Jules the Human for about 5 years. So I have a head start for sure
Yeah.
about, because I started podcasting in 2015. I did interviews. And if you listen, like, I don't know if you could find them, but the very first podcast where I did an interview, like, that was bad. And for a lot of people, that's their first stream, and that's going to be bad, but it's okay. Like, I've already got all my bad out. I
Yeah.
did that 4 years ago. I already got mad because I said a weird word, or I said too many times, or I hate my voice, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I hate seeing me on camera. It's like, no, I've been doing YouTube for a year already before I
Yeah.
started Twitch streaming. I'm already over that. It's over. But for people that are just starting, they still have to get over that, and they have to get over being alone on stream, and they're like, I don't know what to say, but I've had a lot of practice already, so it comes a little bit easier. But it does take time, and a lot of people do just have their friends in there, but then it has this blockage from you in chat because they're not in on the joke all the time. You
Yeah.
and your friends have inside jokes or inside lingo, and they could be calling you like a fucking idiot, but that's just how they talk. And chat could be like, oh, that's a little abrasive, and
Yeah.
they don't know your connection or whatever. So yeah, I just always, just choose to have that connection with chat while I stream. And I'm always like, hey, add me. I'll play whenever you want, but just not on stream. That's not um, our time.
Yeah.
So,
Dude, I
uh,
love that. I absolutely love that. So now, kind of transitioning away from this glorious topic, I'm still almost so impressed. Going into teams, right? Obviously, with the, Valkyrie RC going on right now, I've kind of been asking this question about teams and in general. For a team, like, obviously you have your own priorities and the community that you're trying to build, but obviously with going for the RC you have interest in joining a team. So with that, kind of what draws you to a team, especially what draws you towards wanting to be a part of VK?
so I've never tried to be a part of a team before. I've never done a recruitment challenge, so this is all new to me, and it's been really fun and something to do, right? Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
something, a goal to reach, because like I said, I'm already I'm already successful in my own head. I'm already successful because my streams are great, people show up, whatever.
Yeah.
But for September and of course during COVID right now, it's just like a small goal. Like, I'm editing this final video, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be so cool. I can add this, I can do this, whatever, and I can edit it this way, and I'll show them this, and it's like, it's something to get me stimulated about creating content. And that's one. That's for the RC, that it's just a stimulating way to create content.
Yeah.
But for this crew, I do see a lot, like we talked about it. You see a lot of streamers that um, aren't the greatest, but they don't know how to be better, and they're kind of just stuck. And it's not their problem. It's not their fault. They're gonna get there eventually, maybe in a year or two or whatever. But they'll get there. But uh, with this team, I don't see that, and I want peers that are goal-driven, peers that are creating content, and I haven't found that yet. I haven't found people that are as passionate about creating content, about streaming, about whatever it is, um, yet. And then I see Valkyrie Array, like, I found them on Twitter a while ago, because somebody, I think something about Obey, somebody left Obey, but they were going to be on VK. And I was like, oh, interesting. I'll check them out. And I saw some of their streamers. I was like, cool. And ever since then, I just, was whatever. I just followed them and I looked, checked them out. And then they had the RC, and I was like, you know what? I just gonna do it. Like, why not? Like, what
Yeah.
do I have to lose? What am I gonna? Nothing's happening. I'm only gonna make friends or create cool content or whatever. It's a win-win no matter what. And even if I don't make it, that's fine too. It's not the end of the world. But I would love to. But it is an opportunity to find like-minded people that are quote unquote grinding the right way,
Yeah.
and something that's really interesting to me, because yeah, like I said, there's people that are putting a ton of time on streaming, but their social media isn't in on par, or they're not making YouTube videos or whatever. I see is VK, and I see these content creators, and I'm like, those are my peers, and I want to create content with them, or I just want to be around them, and being around them will make me be better. So that's kind of the motivation I think I have, for trying to join the team.
Wow, dude, you can tell that you podcast. Your answers
Oh
are
yeah,
so
it's
so
really.
good, dude.
I honestly did not practice at all. I just came in here. Peek behind the curtain. You did not tell me any of the questions you were going to ask me. This is just me talking. Again, I've been doing this for 5 years, so like uh, I have a definite advantage. So don't feel bad if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, I could never do that. And it's like, well, maybe in 5 years, that's fine. But like,
Keep
yeah,
working. Keep
I
working.
and of course with the Void Walker podcast, I do it solo now, and it's really difficult. And that's the first time I'm doing a solo podcast. All these other podcasts I've been able to bounce things off of with people, but now it's just me talking about Apex Legends, and it's a little more difficult, and it's a challenge, but it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I've
I talk
listened
a lot.
to the I want to say it was the episode where the nude gun came out. I had played Apex Legends back before the new map World's Edge came in.
Sure.
So, I know a little bit about it, but I haven't been playing in
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
recent times. But no, great show by the way. I've
Thanks.
listened to the one episode that I listened to again, just like with these replies to the questions. I was very impressed. And you can tell that you're very refined in the way that you talk and how you approach, topics or the point that you want to convey in your message. There's people that could talk and they can ramble on and on and on, and eventually they'll say enough words to make it sound like whatever, but
Yeah.
they forget to come back and answer the question. So I mean, dude, I'm thank you for doing this interview with me. And
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I want to roll out the red carpet to you. Where can all of these people find you at? How can they support you?
You can support me by following me or joining a stream. Jules the Human, Jules, the Human on all social media. That includes Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Jules the Human there as well. Snapchat. I mean, JulesTheHuman.com is where you can see my life before Twitch. That's where you can get all the information about music, podcasts that I've done before. But really, just Google me, Jules the Human, no spaces, and all my stuff will come up. It's really simple.
Man, thank you again, Jules, for coming on. That is going to do it for this episode here on Who Got Next. I definitely believe Jules is one of those people. That is going to do it for this episode. Be sure to tune in next week for the following episode. You can find us on all podcasting platforms at WhoGotNextgg. Connect with us on social media as well at WhoGotNextgg. You can find this show here and see our beautiful faces on YouTube at WhoGotNextgg as well. I'm Andrew, and that is it. Thank you for watching.